Oh, very, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever has joined us in the stream. And we are on the Spa circuit this week with our ACC boys. Again, today being a special week for ACC boys, it's gonna be double points. So, double the challenges, double the stakes, double the fun. That's what we are expecting out of today's race. But in the com box, I am joined by my co-commentator Simply and our streamer as usual SSJ. So Simply, any thoughts, anything that you have to say for today's race before we jump into it?
Last time I was commentating for double points, that was in Silverstone. We saw a very good battle for the lead as well as, multiple battles throughout the field. And I'm hoping that we can see some of that here as well.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like just to clarify for people, it is double points, but the format doesn't change. We are still gonna follow the 10 minutes quali, followed by a 20-minute race, followed by a 30-minute sprint race. So it's all a splash and dash. Whatever we have been following throughout the season is just that the points are doubled. So the stakes are high, and we are already 5 minutes, sort of 4 or 5 minutes into this session. We do not have any time on the board, but Davlesh Singh is about to cross the line, hopefully with a valid lap, and there's the time that everyone is chasing for 2:17.3, which everyone will be chasing for. Obviously, we have 17 drivers. Some of our drivers are busy with the AOR endurance race that is going on in the background, so probably a bit of attendance hindrance we can see right here, but nevertheless, we do expect a good battle up front. Maybe the blessing again will go unchallenged for this week, but we'll have to wait and see. Times are pouring down on the board. Currently, no one getting even close, remotely close to the blessing. FIFA Kanak with a 2:19.0 and Purokada with 2:19.6. So obviously, people will be improving on their time based on my previous experience and seeing the track temperature on the top right, more of like ambient temperature of 23. I'm expecting that a 2:17.3 is actually a really good time, although it can be improved to maybe 2:16 minutes, but that's it. That's what I believe is the limit right now on the track.
I think I've seen a couple, say, esports drivers are aliens as we call them, do 2:15. So if Davlish somehow manages to set in such a lap time, I think he will basically be untouchable. Although right now we can already see that he is quite far ahead. So I think he's already in a different league of his own.
Yep. No one is there to challenge him, but yeah, obviously the point that you said, esports drivers doing 2:15, that might be because generally in Spa the temps are low in any race. Uh, in our case, it has been raised a bit, but generally in Spa it is expected to be around 15 or 16-degree ambient. So that could contribute to the 4 or 5 tens extra gain that you can get. But nevertheless, I am expecting Davlish to go into the 2:16s very soon in the next couple of laps. With 3 minutes left in the quali, we are right now on board Sai Prithvi, who has been a challenger up there for the podium, coming across bus stop chicane, braking perfectly. That is a very important braking point because if you miss it, you are not gonna be getting a good exit out of the bus stop. But manages there perfectly, crosses the line. What time does he set? He goes P2. Yeah, he does go P2. So with a 2:18.3. So that's what I meant. He is the challenger for the podium.
Yeah, so by the looks of the podium, it could be that in terms of P2 and P3, but if unless someone can show like extreme pace or even match the leash, or at least get like within, I'd say, half a second to him, I think it'll be another runaway for the leash here.
Yes, indeed. We did see on Sai Prithvi that he did set the fastest middle sector. So that is sort of indicating Sai Prithvi running a more high downforce based setup rather than a less downforce compared to the Vlish Singh. So that would indicate why he went purple in the first sector. Right now we are on board SD, who is coming across the final corner. Will he improve on his time? He does not. Seems like he had invalidated his lap and will be looking to start another one with just 2 minutes left in this quali.
Yep, that is all he has a time for. And I think he really shouldn't be worried that much since Sai Prithvi is a second off of him. But I think if he really wants to go for it, then he can. It's just gonna solidify his pole for now even more. Although what I mean, it is Spa at the end of the day, and going up Eau-rouge in the first, as soon as we go green flag racing, anything could happen. Maybe Davlish could make a mistake, and then once he falls back down the order, it's just basically impossible to catch back up to the top three.
Yeah, definitely. We do have a spun car there on the exit. We just got a glimpse of it from that camera angle. But SD trying to set in a better time that he can, and that will be Faizan, who is in the Aston, which has crashed right now. Parked it outside the track safely and will be returning to pits. But considering that, one disadvantage of it being Spa is that, with a 10-minute quali, you can get very less laps in. And evident by the fact that SD does not have enough time to start another lap if he somehow messes up this lap. So, this is gonna be his final lap for quali. So, he has to give whatever he has.
Yes, he is under that pressure, so he could be taking it slightly in a more, say, careful way, and that could cost him a lot of lap time compared to if he had a lot more time left, he could have pushed a lot more. But of course, since he does not have that time left, he will have to finish this lap and make sure he does not invalidate or make any mistakes anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. That is the goal that SD will be having as of now. Um, but yeah, we'll just keep a look on it with just 20 seconds left. As I said, SD won't be able to start another hot lap after this. So this is the last attempt that he has. He might just be able to start. No, no, he won't be able to. Will he be able to? No, he. And that's a mistake there.
Oh.
A very big one there. He almost, as I said before, you can miss up your braking point trying to brake that late for the bus stop chicane. And I guess on the exit, he went really wide, or because of that compromised line, he lost whatever time he had on board. We are right now on board the listing. We have no idea whether he is improving on his time. Doesn't look like from the bottom right, but that might change. We'll have to wait and watch if he can improve on his time.
He realistically doesn't have to improve. Everyone else is in the pits. Only Sai Prithvi is out on track. But I think even he's invalidated his lap. And yep, there's yellow flags for Sai Prithvi. So that is the Velicious pole confirmed. So I think he can RTG now.
He can RTG, but it's better to give a statement before RTGing. So that's why he is continuing the lap with just two corners left. He will soon be finishing this lap, and we will be back into the pits. But yeah, simply, what do you think? Is it a disadvantage for drivers considering it's Spa and 10 minutes quali? You can barely get in 4 laps if you are lucky. There is no chance that you can get in 5 laps. So, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be risking to stay out on the same set of tires with the same amount of fuel. So I think it is not ideal for them in terms of qualifying because we do have very minimal runs here and it takes forever to just get across the track. 7 kilometers long it is, so that also plays into the effect. And I think it is kind of a disadvantage to them unless they can absolutely perfect their runs and their outlaps. It's really not possible for them to go for any longer runs. I think they will
Yeah.
really be hoping for more runs because we did see drivers like SD. They really wanted that second chance. SD, Faizan, who made mistakes in their laps, they wanted that second chance so that they could set a much better lap time, but they just were out of time, so they just couldn't do anything.
Yes, that's a perfect analysis. But with that, with those words, we have a couple of people who are joining in with us for the race. We do have two more drivers who have been added towards the end of the list. But Davlesh Singh did improve on his time towards the end of that qualifying session, and he did improve by 2 tenths, and he sits at 2:17.1. But again, the thing to look is Sai Prithvi also has a purple sector in P2 in the second sector. So that is a clear indication that he is running a high downforce setup, something that can be very advantageous if you want a really good exit out of bus stop, or even the corner before that, which leads up to the long back straight. So those corners where it is very heavily loaded, your car is very heavily loaded, you would need those downforce. But P3 is currently Purav Gowda, P4 is FIFA Kanak, P5 is Oshan, P6 is Tegizwan, P7 is Abhay Thakur, P8 is Shan, P9 is SD after his unfortunate mistake in bus stop chicane on his final hot lap. P10 is Vishnu Anand, P11 is Starmax Lord, P12 Faizan, P13 Mr. Raut, P14 Supreme Kai, P15 Sidak, P16 Rishabh, P17 Helium, P18 Cannonade, and P19 Washing Powder Nirma, who I believe joined after the quali got over or did not have enough time to even set up one lap after the
Joined
start.
after quali was over.
Yeah. So right now we are waiting for the drivers again. For people who have been watching F1 on this track, might be a bit confused as to why they are starting from here and not from corner before, because the start finish line is actually not where the F1 start finish line is. It is a different GT3 start finish line. We do see a car going all the way from back to the front. That's an aggressive way to heat up your tire. I'm not sure if you should be doing so aggressive heat up. The best way to heat up is just ride the brakes and the throttle. You can do a bit of throttle and braking, but that was a bit too aggressive, as drivers are lining up with their 70 kmph speed limit that they are going to get. They are about to cross the bollards, and that's the green flag up ahead. Already we see P5, that might be Oshan, moving to the left to cover up the left side so that no one is on the outside going through Eau-rouge to make it difficult for him. Behind, we do have a lot of people who are trying to go side by side through Eau-rouge. We do have a 3 wide at the back with Faizan involved in that as well. Make it 4 wide soon. No, it has dispersed to be 2 by 2 wide at the back as well. So it's Helium, Faizan who are side by side. Again, the exclamation mark just indicating a bit of contact that they had somewhere, and nothing to be worried about, because we do see everyone clear the start, and no one has been into major incident. Ooh, and there we see up ahead someone getting caught off by the brakes of the car in front. I believe it's someone ahead of Faizan. Yeah, that's Helium who is on the inside there. So he is trying to defend from Faizan. Probably the initial lap hiccups might be resolved soon in the next 1 or 2 laps, once the cars get into rhythm, once the drivers get into the rhythm.
Yes, so far no incidents, just minor contacts here and there. Although these guys have been trying to make it 3 wide, 4 wide, or 2 wide even, whatever they can to try and make moves. Because again, in GT3 cars, it's not really easy to make a move in such corners purely because they don't have enough downforce to carry the proper speed perhaps required to uh, make the moves. But they're still following very, very closely to each other. There's a nice train over here that we've seen that is formed, and I'm not sure that is Faizan who's making a move on
No,
Rishabh.
no,
No,
no.
that is Rishabh making a move on
Yeah,
Faizan.
correct. Hmm.
They're still going side by side, and none of them is willing to give up even through these corners. And I think that's Rishabh who's gone off wide, but he's still not giving up. Still sticking with Faizan. He has the inside line, and oh, there's a bit of contact. Faizan gets spun around, and that is Shan. I'm not sure who had contact there
That
with
was Vishnu
Faizan.
Anand who couldn't judge the break point of the fighting cars ahead, and because of that, he went and hit the rear. And it's okay. Maybe a bit of misjudgment that happened from that black car there. He is trying to get back. A beautiful switchback move there on Star McFlot. Just caught him napping right there. That was a beauty to see. Not the one incident that happened, but yeah, it happens in racing. He maybe misjudged it by slightly, and because of that compromised exit, everyone is going wide, cutting the corner there on Ascari. Someone is off the grass there. That's Cannonade, who is trying to overtake off the track because he was not left any space on the exit with 4 cars all nearby each other, and every driver getting confused on where the car is. We do have a takeout at the back as well, I think, and one more takeout in the. That's I think that's Cannonade himself who spun there and is trying to rejoin again in the red car. So he will be trying to rejoin back. Um, I'm not sure. Can we have the constructors as well on the leaderboard, or is that not a feature that we can have? Oh, constructor is bottom right. Okay, my bad. So that clarifies everything. So there is ST and Abhay Thakur. Not a lot of space was given on the outside. by SD to Abhay Thakur. Abhay Thakur had to go on the grass, and in my opinion, just by looking at the aerial view, I think it was SD's. SD could have left a bit more space, but whatever is done is done. They should now concentrate on getting back on the track safely. SD having a lot of damage from that incident, and he will probably have to pit for getting his car repaired because that Beamer cannot do good with so much damage. We can clearly see him struggling there, going through all the corners. So he will be looking into pit in the next lap.
Yes, that Beamer does take up quite a bit of space. Not as much as the Mercedes, I don't think, but it does take quite a bit of space, and they just ran out of track, and they could not do anything. But FIFA Kana goes off wide, just outbreaks himself by trying to make a move on Oshan. Oshan does the same, and although FIFA Kana is kind of a loser here because he did come out in terms of positions, that is, he did come out behind them, and that is a Mercedes. And oh, that those are multiple cars. They're going three wide through bus stop, and by the looks of it, that's Faisal who's trying to make a recovery so far. Although Supreme Kai is ahead, he's gained from all of these positions. The three people fighting behind him, he's gained from all of them.
Yeah, like it was basically in the bus stop between Oshan and Tegiz one. I think it was sorry, Oshan and FIFA Kanak. It was nothing but who will break the latest, and I think both the guys were trying to wait for the other driver to brake, and then they would go on the brake, and because of that, both of them missed the braking point. And but it was FIFA Kanak who missed the breaking point by a mile, and that's what has costed him. But right now, Cannonade is on a charge. He is trying to overtake Supreme Kai, who is ahead of him in the Ferrari. So obviously, Ferrari having a much better top speed than compared to the Aston of Supreme Kai. If I'm not wrong, that is an Aston. Yeah, that is an Aston. If I told wrong, I would probably get a lot of comments on it. And Supreme Kai is sending it down the inside. You
Ooh.
do not send it there because the drivers do not expect it unless you warn them beforehand itself. I believe he did move out of the rear of Supreme Kai there, and did tell him that he might be going for that dive, but Supreme Kai had all the right of the line because he was at least he had the full car ahead of him, so he would dictate the line. So Cannonade should have backed out, but unfortunately, he didn't had enough time to do so. Up ahead, we have Tegiz one who is trying to chase down Oshan. Now, Oshan having a rattling race as of now in the in the Porsche. Obviously, not a good news for him, especially considering that this track has a lot of straight. So the only way that Tegiz one can defend is if he gets good exit from the bus stop and turn one. So he has to do that to keep it ahead of Tegiz one.
Yes, I am not really sure if the Porsche is very good on the straight line, but from what I've just heard from you, I believe it is. So if he is struggling here, then it's not ideal for him. He will have to start putting in those laps and start to focus more and not really get pressured, and pay attention to who's behind him. At least not as far as he doesn't close him more.
Yeah, definitely. Porsche and Beamer, I believe, will have the same top speed, sort of like plus minus 2 3 kmph. But on the corners, it seems like the Porsche will have a slight bit of upper hand. But yeah, like he will have to use that. But on the brakes, Beamer might be a bit better than Porsche, as you can clearly see there, him gaining time on the brakes itself. So it's a battle that Tegiz one has to choose, and where he decides to go for the move. He has to analyze the setup that the guy ahead of him is having and what are the weaknesses of that. So that's how you make a perfect overtake in GT3 without the other person doing any mistake.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And considering Teges 1 is in that Beamer and the start of Sector 3, the long back straight, and launch him, of course, he'll be very keen to get as close to that Porsche as possible and get the move done.
Yes, for people who are watching us, if you got confused and we see Oshan losing his rear there, who got confused by the sudden abrupt of a third voice in the VC, we have Kake who has joined us in the comms box as well. So, you know what I will do? I will take a break, Kake, and simply why don't you guys carry on with the commentary? I will be back in some time.
Sure, and as I was saying, Oshan didn't have a nice exit out of Stavelot 2, and Tegiswan is right on his rear with the superior. Oh no, and there's a bit of contact going into the left hand of Blanchimont, and both of them have completely wrecked each other, which is not at all a good news. Please hold on to your brakes, don't join in an improper manner. I've seen some terrible driving, honestly, in lap 2 and 3 from these drivers, which definitely isn't expected. But yeah, both of them have now lost quite a few positions. Pegasus down to 6, Oshan down to P10, and of course, quite a lot of damage for both of them as well.
Yeah, definitely. We could see that Tegiswan was getting very, let's just say, eager to make that move when Ocean gets spun out again, and that's by Starmax Lord. Ocean smashing his table right now, I believe, because it is not going well for him. He was defending off from Tegiswan. Tegiswan got eager and he tried to make a move on Ocean, and it did not end up well, although it did look kind of satisfying because both of them had kind of a synchronous spin. But then again, it just ruined both of their races. Tegiswan has damage, Ocean has damage, and Ocean was crawling back and making sure that, and he's just not having a very good race here at all. He spun out again. So he will be very, very frustrated. His race one is not going well at all. He did get tapped by Starmax Lord going into turn one, and then after that, going up Eau-rouge, he's lost his type. I'm pretty sure he has a lot of damage, and he's not able to control his car well because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Oshan was just completely struggling there after that contact. But yeah, as of now, it's Davleesh who is currently leading, and definitely all the drivers will make sure that they somehow finish within 2 laps of Davleesh because this is a double points race. So all the drivers will be getting twice the points than the usual in both the races, race 1 and race 2. So it's important that they finish within a couple of laps of the bleach in for race 1, and that's why it might be not a bad call to just stay out with a bit of damage, avoid quitting to get those points.
I would just like to interrupt you guys. I did see Masum join the server and then he
Yes, yes,
left.
yes.
So I was thinking there can be some spice in the next race with Masum in the lobby, but I think he left again. So we'll have
Yeah,
to wait and see whether he actually joins back.
yeah. Most likely he will be there for race 2. So let's see what happens.
Yes. For now, on the other hand, washing powder Nirma is now trying to fight Supreme Kai, who got spun around earlier, and we will have to see. I mean, he's trying to make a move down the inside. I'm not sure what the corner name or number is, but he did. The washing powder Nirma himself had a bit of an incident beforehand, and because of that, he was down to last. But he's making a decent recovery now as he is past Supreme Kai, going into the bus stop chicane. And I think Washing Powder's Nirma next goal will be to catch up to Faizan. That is if he can, but there's only about 7 and a bit minutes left, so I don't think that will be possible.
Yep, it's a bit of a tall ask, getting so many moves done in 7 minutes. But yeah, as we see, Cannonade has gone into another wreck on top of Eau-rouge, going in the reverse direction to get his car sorted. And he does it safely enough. No more further incidents. And he stays. He lost a couple of positions there, lost Faizan and Shadal. So he's the 14 now. Uh, Nirma joined in late, didn't complete the qualifying. He's still languishing down the order. And further down, we have a couple of pro class and silver drivers. Ishan is finally into the pits. Most likely, he has encountered some suspension damage, and SD as well. After that, lap to wreck has been in the pits. He is in the pits,
Assume is
right?
back.
Car number 5, yeah. So
SD has been in the pits after the initial contact,
Yeah.
Kake, earlier on in the race, and I think he's just given up on this race and he'll be hoping to make a
Yeah,
recovery on the next one.
he is driving though currently down in Lanchimo, so he wants to get those points. It's definitely all these drivers should be going for that as well.
He is multiple laps down, so I guess his next best effort would be, of course, to try and at least get ahead of Ocean in the remaining time that we have left. And I'm not sure what top number of people get points here in ACC, but maybe you can clear that out for us, Kake.
Yeah, so it's top 15 for race 1 and top 20 for race 2.
Right.
That's how it is.
So SD is not going to get points in this race. He is ahead of Oshan now, and yeah, he's 90 minutes, sorry, seconds behind Supreme Kai.
Yeah.
So that's SD's race pretty much done here, but he's still trying to salvage whatever he can out of it in case somebody else has incidents as well. That's what he's counting on. By the looks of it, Faizan and Star Max Lord are not having any incidents so far. Star Max Lord goes off wide, and that just helps of Faizan to stay ahead. Although we can see in the back Mr. Raut just creeping up behind these guys, and he'll be catching up soon by the pace he's having right now.
Yeah, looks like Mr. Roth can catch up to these two guys. Plus, looking at how much off track both of them are going, he very well has a nice chance to catch up to these drivers. It's not much, I think. As we finally have a close battle between Vishnu and Shan. Shan being the silver glass driver here. Vishnu pressured him quite a lot going into the learning corner and now coming too hard. We saw Shan losing his car here, I think. Shilas, or was it Nirma? One of the Beamer definitely lost the cars there. So it's the battle of the Beamers. Let's see which Beamer as Vishnu Anand loses his car this time. That's it. Zoom Abhi Thakur now will be getting closer to Vishnu Anand. And it's Shamax Lord and Sarat in the battle, and that's Oshan recently blue flagged, I believe. That shouldn't be an issue. Canonade as well now quite interested as this three-way battle heats up for P12. Definitely you will be getting about 6 points if you finish P12, so that's a handful considering how close the ARM championship is right now.
Some good info here from Kake about the points, and so far I think Star Max Lord hasn't made a mistake because Mr. Raut was 4 seconds behind. He's made another mistake because now Mr. Raut is ahead of them, and Cannonade's right behind them as well. Cannonade is now trying to make a move on the outside. Nope, just is not alongside enough. Star Max Lord goes off wide again, but I think that is legal. But I think that could have been a mistake because Cannonade has gotten a much better run, and Star Max Lord is just being eaten up. Star Max Lord, however, breaks much later, comes back, and he's still fighting with them. He gets a much better line out of there. Here comes Washing Powder Nirma as well joining the fight, and now he's putting pressure on Cannonade.
Absolutely. Suddenly, this battle has become four-way as a lot of people are going for dive bomb. Oshan doing his best to avoid all these cars battling right now. He seems to be faster than a couple of these guys here, but then once you have blue flag, it's quite hard to, just keep on racing with other guys in a battle. So he probably does. He takes a wise no. That is Tarmax Lord just not staring enough at the top of the hill and just going into the barrier. And Cannonade barely avoids him as well as Washing Powder Nirma. So that's Starmax done for the race most likely. With just a couple of minutes left to go. And it's now the battle between Nirma, Cannonade and Mr. Roth. And Tegisman is also quite close to Helium up ahead. Again, the battle of the Beamers. The grid is quite, populated by the BMW drivers right here, as well as the new Audi. So we have seen Helium and Tegisman involved in a few battles in previous races as well. As we switch back to the battle for P12, Mr. Roth going wide, Cannonade slightly wide, but he keeps the car on track as Mr. Roth is now being overtaken by both Cannonade and Nirma. So both of them go up ahead, and now Nirma will be looking to stay as close as possible to Cannonade before the bus stop chicane.
Yep, Nirma has done quite well here. He started last P19, which Masum isn't right now. But Masum is not on track, I don't think, or maybe he is, I'm not sure. But yeah, Nirma started last, and considering that we only had about 20 minutes race and he did have a spin in the middle as well, saying that he's up into P13 now, he's actually done very, very well. And we can see SD's plan is kind of working out for him because he is past another driver, Star Max Lord. He only needs one of these guys to RTG again in the remaining minute that we have. Anything could happen over here at Spa. So, SD can gain another position just because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the battle here between Canada and Nirma, Canada went defensive quite early, I would say, not needed there. He just compromised his own line and lap time there. And this most likely is the last lap, considering the leash is, he is at Brussels. So this very well will be the last lap. And a couple of battles, Tegas won and Helium and Washing Powder and Nirma will be interesting to watch how this pan out.
Yep, definitely, and it is not a very good look for Star Max Lord because we know he has a lot of potential in him. He is, because of that, a part of the endurance team as well. But he just cannot make mistakes. I mean, he can't get away with mistakes here, and he definitely can't get away with mistakes in the endurance race. So we're just hoping that he stays focused at least for the endurance race, and he can definitely prove himself out there because we know that he has a lot of potential in him. Meanwhile, coming back to the current stuff that's happening on the grid right now, Davlish Singh goes across the line and he will win the race one here at Spa. Sai Prithvi yet again in P2 and Pururav Gowda in P3. That is the podium for race one. W Singh doing a couple of stunts after crossing the line. Although the racing action is not yet over because One is still trying to get past Helium, and I don't think it will be enough. Yep, just not
Yeah,
enough
not
unless
really.
Helium makes a mistake coming out of the bus stop chicane, and I don't think Helium's made any mistakes, so that is that.
Yep, now over to him as he is just 4 tenths of Cannonade now. I'm expecting a big dive bomb into bus stop chicane if he doesn't overtake him before that, as Rishabh crashes after finishing. Quite popular celebration tactics in ACC. Both of them going really wide, not caring about any of the track limits. But Cannonade is now 1 second ahead, and that definitely should be enough to keep that position. Unless he goes really late or anything, that should be P12 for him. See, bus stop is fine, and it definitely is nothing wrong here. Nirma definitely went quite deep with the brakes. But yeah, stays like that. P12 is Cannonade 13 for Nirma. So if you can run down the order simply, I'll be quickly back and set up the server for race 2.
Yeah, sure. That was a very good performance by Nirma. I just like to add that since he has been quite busy and he has not been able to practice a lot for these races, considering that he's actually done quite well for himself, and although that is the race one over here at Spa, of course, winner being the Willie Singh with 9.7 seconds to Sai Prithvi. Very, very good performance from the Willie Singh yet again, followed by, of course, Sai Prithvi in P2, Pururav Gowda in P3, FIFA Kanak in P4, Helium in P5. One was very, very close to Helium, but it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. Followed by Rishabh, Shant 7, Vishnu Anand, Abhay Thakur, Aizan, who had a pretty decent and eventful race himself, Cannonade, Russian Powder Nirma with a very, very good recovery, Mr. Raut, Supreme Kai, SD, who's let's say strategy worked out quite well for him, even though he was a lap down. Just to Supreme Kai, he still did fairly well, and if that is quite a good boost considering that he does have pace, so he will be able to carry it forwards into race two. Was followed by Star Max Lord, who just did not have a very good race coming to the uh, second half of it. which caused him to RTG, and then yeah, that was the end for his race, unfortunately. Followed by Oshan, who we are on board with right now. Not so Masum did not race, but he did join the lobby, and he will be going at it in race two, followed by Psyduck SR, who has also joined quite fairly late. He did not race either, but he will be joining us for race two.
Yes, so that was an exciting race indeed. I was watching from a back foot, but I was watching everything. So definitely a great show by a lot of peoples, and we do have a lot of new drivers for the next race. So we have to just wait and see what exactly comes out in the next race itself. SD being one of the losers after the second lap incident, falling back to the towards the end of the grid and trying to crawl back as much as he can, trying to get P15 at least so that he can get that minimum points at least for himself. But unfortunately, not able to succeed in that. But he has another race to go. But the only unfortunate thing in the next race is that he is gonna be towards the back of the field, and that is what is he has to deal with, because there will be at least some chaos that will be related to uh, related to him being in the back of the field.
Yep, I completely agree with you. That was kind of an unfortunate race for SD, but we do know he has a lot of pace, and the second race is 30 minutes long. There's plenty of time as long as he can keep his nose clean. He has plenty of time to make sure he can get within, at least the top 10 here.
Yeah, definitely. If he gets his act together, he has a lot of time, even if anyone does a mistake with the pace that he has, or even Masum, who is starting from back of the grid. So these two people will be trying to go through the entirety of the grid to get to the top position. So we will have some exciting overtakes to see from both of these people, both SD and Masum, in the next race, which we are waiting to be up and ready in few minutes. The coordinators are taking the results of the first race and generating an intelligence for the second race.
Some replays going on here.
This was the SD and Abhay Thakur incident, which caused SD the damage. So SD is on the left hand side, Abhay Thakur on the right hand side. There was more space for Abhay Thakur to go to the right. I'm not sure why he didn't go. Can you go a bit more back? Let's look at it again once. Let's do some analysis on this. So exit wise, yeah, it's all fine. Yeah, keep going. Maybe a chase cam would be the best cam, not the broadcast cam to look at it. Yes. So let's go to some NFS cams. Yes. Yes. There you go. So right now SD has given enough space on the right hand side. Yeah, this is where it all started. Abhay Thakur had a lot of space on the right side. SD thought that Abhay Thakur will go to the right hand side, but unfortunately didn't move, and because of that contact model happened, and then nothing could be done to recover from that at those speeds in that part of the track. So I'm not entirely sure whose fault it was, looking at it again, but definitely something that both drivers will have to keep in mind for the next race, considering that they might end up again in a battle like that. We are right now on board Faizan, who was rear-ended by Vishnu Anand there. Like, Vishnu Anand completely missed his braking. That's what we observed in the race as well. That's what I, inferred from the clip that we were watching during the race. So it seemed like Vishnu Anand just broke a bit late. Oh, he actually broke and then let go of the brakes, so which caused that had he held the brakes at that instant, he would have stopped in time, as same as the other two drivers. So that's what has caused that incident. This guy, he was lucky to not spin. Only Faizan was the unfortunate one to spin there. So because of that, Faizan won't be very happy, and definitely a report will be coming in for that incident, whatever we saw. But simply, I want to ask you, what are your predictions for the next race? Seeing the first race, nothing much happened in the top three. What do you think about the next race? Will there be a more exciting battles in the top three, or is it gonna be the same as what happened in the first race?
Because Masoom is not starting anywhere close to the top 3, I think it will remain the same.
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. Even I would say the same thing. Although we will get to see some overtakes throughout the race, because Masoom and SD both fast drivers will be starting from a grid. So definitely something exciting we will get to see.
Definitely. We were just waiting now for the race lobby to be set up, and we will be there shortly. And we are quite excited for race 2 because we did see very, I'd say, interesting battle happen between multiple drivers in the back of the grid as well as in the midfield. And we're expecting some same or similar levels of battling going on here in race 2.
You know what makes this track exciting for those battles? It's like a all-rounder track. There are long straights where the cars having more top speed will benefit, but those same cars are not good on the corners, and the second sector is right there to, for the slower cars which are either better on the brakes or are better in their turning to help them out in the second sector itself. That's what we saw from even Sai Prithvi when we were in the TT time. We did see Sai Prithvi getting P2 with a second sector quickest, indicating that the car that he was driving was obviously a more turn-in car. I believe it was the Beamer itself, if I'm not wrong. I might be wrong. Will correct myself once we start next stream. But uh, definitely, yeah, Sai Prithvi in the Beamer itself. Yes, I was correct about that. So Beamer being good on the brakes and the turn, so Sai Prithvi was utilizing whatever he can from that. So right now we are on board Starmax Lord, who was trying to go on the inside of Vishnu there. Vishnu for some reason was going really slow, and Starmax Lord just caught up so much time on Vishnu Anand there for that corner. So definitely bus stop. Something happened before that to oh, and that's the issue. Okay, Starmax Slot did another Dojin move. He went on the grass and then braked, which will just kick in your ABS, and you will not be able to stop there. And that's what has happened. Can you go a bit more back? I just want to see his brake point. Did he brake at the correct marker? Break. Yeah, he did break at the correct marker. There were multiple things involved. I believe even Vishnu Anand broke a bit early, so he was carrying very less speed through that corner. And the second thing that definitely was the major culprit would be him breaking on the grass. So that's what caused that incident. Starmax Lord might not, might also be feeling bad after that incident, but he did exactly what the Jin did in a Nürburgring race, where he took out almost half the grid when he broke on the grass. So breaking on the grass is a no-no in this game, unless and until you are very brave and you know where your car will stop. But a lot of incidents, as I was telling, it all depends on the car that you are driving. Every car is good on this track. It's just the nature of the track that we have. Every car has their sectors. They have their sectors. They have their opportunities to go for a move. Obviously, it becomes a bit difficult for the high downforce cars, because for them to make a move, they have to do it on a corner, which is basically second sector. Most of the corners are there, and uh, when you are going through a corner, if you want to get the best run in and out of that corner, you need to take the ideal line, which is definitely not going to be possible with the car on that ideal line. So it makes it a bit difficult for the better cornering cars to gain an upper hand on this track. But obviously they can use their late braking ability to just dive for the bus stop chicane, or be it any other corner, even up to demonstrate that corner also they can send it on the inside and still make the corner. So it's all up to the drivers. The toy is in their hands. They have to play with. They have to know how to play with it.
Definitely. And I just wanted to see one more thing, if you do have the time remaining, Dan. What happened to Star Max going up Eau-rouge? I think it would be nice to see like a better POV of it, because all we could see when we switched was him going into the wall and then almost hitting, I think, washing powder Nirma off. So if it is possible, then I'd say we'd like to see that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because in the entirety of the race, I don't think there was a single incident at Rouge. Sort of like there was one in the beginning where two or three cars were there, but no one was spun around. I think one guy was spun around in the red Ferrari. I'm forgetting his name, but yeah, apart from that, he didn't have any major damage because of that. But Star Max Lord just was full dead. His car was fully gone after that. But we are not sure whether it was done by him, whether it was a human error from his side, or whether it was some other driver's error with whom he was going side by side with. So maybe if Dan can get in the replay for that, we will have a bit more insight. Meanwhile, a bit more insight on the next lobby itself. We are almost ready with the next lobby. I believe the race lobby is also up, so we will be joining it very soon, and we are waiting right now on the drivers themselves to join the lobby as well. I might be
Yep.
wrong on that part. I am not sure if the lobby is up or not, but we should be going soon. We will be proceeding with the mission very soon.
I believe we have advanced to the race. We should be going quite soon, and yes, we have.
Okay, there you go. All the drivers lined up on the grid. Currently, we are seeing the blue Beamer of SD at the back of the grid and Masum's pink Ferrari right there in the hot pink, should I say, on the left hand side of the screen. So he will be starting from the back of the grid and he has to make up a lot of positions up there. Ahead of him is obviously Star Max Lord, who had the incident in Ashkari, sorry, Arush Radion. What am I saying? I am also forgetting corner names. So Radion, he had the incident, so we have to. So he has to start from the back of the grid. So he will be looking to cover up some positions. So with 30 minutes left in this race, he will have a lot of time to do that as well.
Yep, plenty of time to make up a lot of positions. That is, of course, keeping in mind if you can keep it clean, do not get into any incidents, or just break, late and cause an incidents yourself. And some info I'm getting about Star Max Slot, the only reason he crashed out at Eau Rouge was it because he tried to go flat out in with a car that had 57 seconds worth of damage. So yeah,
Uh,
that
that
wouldn't have worked out for him, but I guess he tried it anyways, and of course, at the end of the day, it didn't pay off.
That pretty much explains it because considering the fact that he's driving a Bentley and yesterday when he was practicing, he did say that it's a very twitchy setup. So if he was driving a twitchy setup and tried to correct that with a 50-second damage, it's not gonna help him taking it flat. So that's what has caused that. We do currently see the red and white Ferrari, if I'm not wrong, they're trying to warm up in P1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, P7. That's Rishabh, I think, who just accelerated and then broke. Same thing that he did in the first race. Maybe that's what he thinks is the best way to warm up the tires. As the drivers are coming down the hill towards the start finish line, we will have to wait and see who gets a good start as they are about to cross the bollards, and that's a green flag up there. Already behind, we can see three cars going side by side somehow before the start, and there's a takeout on the left side there. Not enough space given by the green Porsche there, which has caused. Oh, that was Faizan. Sorry, so that was a green Aston. Maybe not enough space given to Cannonade there, which caused that incident, but he just took him out on the left side. So Cannonade has to do a lot of work to return back, but he has RTG'd. So that's a very unfortunate thing. Meanwhile, Nirma is in some heated battle at the moment. He is having a couple of contacts, very minor contacts up ahead. Also, Rishabh and Shan going side by side, and that's a contact. That's a multiple contact there, right there. Shan and Rishabh just tangled themselves, and they took out a lot more people behind. Even SD was a part of that. SD also was a byproduct of that.
So was washing powder Nirma. He also got collected with that field, and yeah, those guys again. Washing powder Nirma did a very good recovery race last race, and I think he'll have to do one more this time around.
Yeah, like this is exactly what I say always in league racing. It's not about how quick or how well you know how to drive. Since it's a mixed field, it's all about you starting either middle to top if you have the pace. So if you screw up a quali, obviously more cars going ahead of you with varying pace will be causing some kind of incident, and you might get collected in that. And that's exactly what happened with all the drivers, SD, washing powder, Nirma, because we definitely know that SD is not the person who lacks any kind of skill, be it pace or racecraft, but it's just the circumstances that fall into play, and you just can't avoid them. But on the plus note, we do have Masum who is running in P8 right now. We are on board Tegis 1. Obviously, the positions gained, maximum gain will be Masum after the chaos into going into the Radion sector, two cars being taken out, and Masum able to avoid the incident after the chemistry as well, because he was in a Ferrari and he already overtook a couple of cars on that long straight. I was keeping an eye on him. Behind we have Starmax Lord and Faizan exchanging a couple of positions, but we are right now on board. Teg is one who is trying to chase down P4 and above who are ahead of him. Behind him, we do have Helium who is being chased down by Rishabh as well. So, can we go on board Rishabh? I think he's about to make a move. Chuck that. We have FIFA Kanak who is going side by side with Purav Gowda. That is, I believe, yes, that is Purav Gowda in the Audi. Obviously, Audi having the better straight line speed compared to the Bentley, I believe, that Purav Gowda is driving. I'm not sure. But yeah, like he was trying to go for a move. We have Mr. Raut who has been into some incident and has fallen back, has slipped to the right side and rejoins the track safely in P16. Up ahead, we do have a lot of battle going on between Faizan, Starmax Lord, Oshan, and Shan 7. So all three is going three wide into that corner. That's anyways a tricky corner to break and turn, and already people are going side by side, all of them going side by side through the next couple of corners, and there's a takeout. I am not sure. Okay, so that was Oshan who just rear-ended, side swipe, like sort of pit maneuvered there, and he almost took out Faizan there. Ooh, and that was Shan rejoining after his car was out of control there, and almost took his uncontrolled car, almost took out Faizan on that corner. Somehow, Faizan is lucky to be alive here after two incidents in that specific corner itself.
Yes, Faizan will be very delighted he wasn't collected in any of those sort of incidents that happened anywhere, because even a slight contact over there between anyone and he would have definitely fallen back down the order quite a lot, considering that we can see Star Max Lot has RTG'd, and I think his race is definitely over. He will not be taking further part in it. Uh, Coming back to what's happening on track, though, not so Masoom is not so slow right now. He's definitely catching up, and look at that line that's going up all the way to Davlish. And that is what Masoom is aiming for realistically at the end of the day. With 25 minutes left, his goal right now is to catch up to Davlish.
Yeah, definitely. We can clearly see from the timing sheet it's going all the way up to P3. That is Purav Gada who is causing this train to be formed, and people are slowing down or are not at the pace. But right ahead of him, Rishabh got a very bad exit from the Radeon section, and Masoom with his high powered Ferrari hitting 268 kmph on that. I caught a glimpse on the dash. Definitely, he exceeded 270 by the end of the chemistry. It was easily over. It was easy for him to overtake Rishabh there, but he has four more cars ahead of him before he is in the podium. But he has already gained around 12 or 13 positions since the start of the race, so he should be happy with where he is. But obviously, he is the man with the speed, and he is gonna be making more and more moves, as many moves as possible.
Definitely, it won't be easy for him, because we did see Helium's absolute defensive master's class in Imola, and that is what he'll be trying to show here. As we can see, Faizan, Real SD, and Shan 7 back at it. These three guys are trying to fight out for P12 here. Faizan doing the absolute best he can in the Aston Martin to hold off from the real SD as well as Shan 7. And by the looks of it, so far he is done quite well, and he's managed to pull off a decent amount of gap so that he does not get swallowed up immediately into the next corner.
Yeah, definitely. Faizan is driving the Aston, which is the best car on the break. So definitely, if SD wants to make a move, it's not gonna be on hard braking zones. We are right now on board Mazum, who is sending it down the inside with the top speed advantage that he has on a Beamer. He has just mocked the Beamer in the face and just overtaken him on a turn itself. That to a very high speed one. So Helium had absolutely no way or no response to that, what Masum threw at him. So he couldn't do anything because of the pace differential right there. But Masum's next target is Teg is one who is just ahead of him, and he will be looking to even dispose him off on the Camel Straight itself, if I'm not wrong.
I think he will be able to do it because Masum is quite good at passing and quite good at putting pressure on drivers ahead of him while he's trying to pass them, and I think the same is going to happen here. Meanwhile, the real SD and Faizan are fighting it out going through the first corner. Faizan still ahead. SD, though, gets the switchback line. Now they're going side by side, and SD is ahead.
Yeah, definitely. That's the best corner. That's a very lovely corner to do a switchback, but that has led both of them going side by side through Radeon section. But Faizan gets a bit unsettled and outside the track. He has overtaken SD. I'm not sure if that will be counted as a penalty because he did overtake SD off the track. But because of SD being unsettled there, even Shan has overtaken SD. So SD has lost 2 positions during that sector. We do see Shan struggling there and SD trying to go on the outside for the next corner, which turns onto the inside for this corner. Beautiful placement of his car. He knew where the corner will turn because the next 2 corners are right-handed. So that's where you need to place your car on the outside for after the Camel Straight so that you can make that an inside for the next 2 turns. But he has to now again get a move done on Faizan. Faizan, who is also closing on to a blue flagged car. Oh, yeah. That must be a blue flagged car of Supreme Kai, who is slowing down for the leaders to give way as Faizan goes really wide there, and SD also gets thrown off. Oh, that's a very bumpy part of the track. You will have to lift off my dude there, and that's what SD does because if he was flat, his car won't be facing the same direction as where he is heading right now.
Yep, very, very bumpy part of the circuit, and you realistically, ideally want to join before that bit comes. If you do go off wide, that is. And sometimes what happens is that drivers carry too much speed, and then they just, even if they lift off or even if they slam onto the brakes, sometimes it's just too late, and they have already gone over the bumps, and the next thing you know, you're spun off. So very good reactions from the rear SD to lift off because he knew that it would have cost him a lot, and he could have definitely spun there.
Yeah, definitely good judgment by him. Meanwhile, Masum has overtaken Tegiz one. But one thing that I'm noticing is that we do see Faizan going really wide into the entry of bus stop. SD also pressing the inside apex for the first turn on the right hand side to the bus stop. But he has a lot of opportunity coming up where he can actually go for the move. So collecting my thoughts again, basically, we do see Davlish Singh feeling a bit pressured somehow, and he is putting fastest lap after fastest lap as if Masum and Davlish Singh are in an imaginary battle of the best time. We do have right now Helium, who was trying to send it down the outside but didn't work again. That's another overtake off the track in my opinion, and Helium would be, and there he is giving the position back to Teg one there, and he will again try to go for the move next time, this time on the track.
Yep, very good battle between the two of them. Very, very clean. And it is still continuing on. Helium is still trying to get past Tegiz one. And he's just trying to do those switchback lines. He's just trying to take different lines. And yeah, by the looks of it, he is inching in closer and closer and closer, but he'll have to do a lot more than that to get past Tegiz one. And it is quite crucial as well because Rishabh is catching up to them, and Rishabh is essentially right there. He's a second off of them, and every corner that they're fighting it out, Rishabh is just creeping slowly and slowly and slowly. So it is quite crucial for Helium to get past Tegiz one as quickly as possible.
definitely. One thing I just now noticed that there is still 20 minutes left in this race. So these drivers are done with just 10 minutes, and in the first 10 minutes itself, we have seen a lot of things. We up ahead, we have Masum who is about to overtake FIFA Kanak there, maybe sending it down the inside. Yes, he is gonna send it down the inside in the bus stop. Probably will give enough space for FIFA Kanak, but FIFA Kanak just backs out of that move. And Masum is up one more place, so he's just 2.3 seconds behind Purav Gowda for the podium position. So that's what we needed. We needed a challenger for Davlis Singh, and Masoom has showed up. It was just not at the right time for him to start at the same place where Davlis Singh started. But nevertheless, a brilliant show by him. Like he's just 8 seconds behind Davlis Singh now. So all he has to do is get his sweaty pants on and get to racing and maybe chase down the place. If he is able to do that, then we have a new champion at IRC in this thing in Spa.
Definitely, and I'm slightly confused. Do you mean the WDC or
No, no,
just a
we have a challenger, we have another challenger who can challenge the Bliss Singh because till now no one has been able to do that, but finally someone will be there. Meanwhile, Helium and Tech is 1 hour still going at it, and now Rishabh has joined the fun here. He being like, boys, don't forget about me, and Rishabh is looking to overtake even Helium as quickly as possible. Tech is one, loses one position because of the scramble that he is having with Helium, and now we will have to wait and watch how easily can Rishabh dispose of Helium, because definitely Helium is a bit off pace, which is causing even oh, and Helium does go a bit more wide there, which just opens up everything for Rishabh. Rishabh is around a half a car length ahead, I think. Enough space was given on the inside, but I think Helium was carrying a bit too much speed there. Because of that unsettling, even Rishabh got unsettled there. Sai Prithvi has spun in ahead and is falling down the grid. He is currently in P5. So again, and from P2 to P5, that must be gutting. That's where the pack of three goes past him. Teg is one, Rishabh and Helium, who are trying to settle it down there. But Sai Prithvi seems to have a lot of damage on the front of the car. So definitely, I'm not sure whether his car is drivable or not with those conditions. I don't think so. But the battle is still heated up between Rishabh, Helium, and Sai Prithvi.
Yup, it is still going on, and we can clearly see Vishnu Anand has now passed Sai Prithvi. So Sai Prithvi does have a lot of damage. I think he'll be going into the pits to try and get it fixed. There's still 16 minutes left. Yep, he has gone into the pits. And by the looks of it, I have cursed Sai Prithvi because I did say earlier that 3 will remain the same. Although by the looks of it, it has changed a bit because Masum's now into P3, Purav Gowda into P2, although the Davlish Singh's still in P1.
Yeah, I doubt that it will be possible for Masum to catch up to Davlish Singh, but definitely I can see a P2 right now. Sai Prithvi in the pits, obviously one of the biggest pits in the GT3 calendar that we have. So it takes over 2 minutes to do a pit stop. By the time you are already at least 75% of the lap down on the leaders, maybe even get lapped. So Sai Prithvi definitely not having the best of the race, and so did a lot of other people also in this lobby, because we did start with 21 people. Now we are left with 16. So people like Star Max Lord and others who got into a very severe incident decided to leave the lobby because it was not worth it racing for 30 minutes after the amount of damage and the amount of repair time that it was suggesting them in a 30-minute sprint race. So right now, I have to just see whether Sai Prithvi also decides the same. I won't be surprised if he decides to do it, because, as I said, 2 minutes pit stop and then add in your damage of 30 to 40 seconds, and that's basically a lap down. So it's pretty much blue flag simulator after that. So we'll have to wait and see what Sai Prithvi actually comes up with. Obviously, if he finishes this race, he will get points. So if he decides to quit, he's not gonna be getting any points if he decides to quit from here. So he can either think of staying in the race, collecting whatever scraps he can, or he can decide on leaving the race.
Can do that as well, or he can try to salvage whatever he can because top 20 get points. And right now we have only 16 people left, as you mentioned. So Sai Prithvi, as long as he can just finish the race, drive the next 13 laps, try to get whatever he can. Yeah, he is coming out of the pits now, so he's gonna be lapped by the leash, but he's gonna try and do whatever that he can in the best manner possible to try and salvage as many points as he can, because at the end of the day, every single point matters and every single point counts.
Yeah, definitely. Just look at the irony. 1 second he was 10 seconds behind Davlish Singh. Right now, also, he is 10 seconds behind Davlish Singh, but the only difference is that he is a lap down. We are right now on board Not So Masoom, who is gonna dispose of Purav Gowda. Look at that overspeed. Oh my God, what speed is he hitting? I saw 2.7 something. I forgot. I couldn't see the last digit, but that was just like the slipstream and the exit coming into play hand in hand. Easy overtake on the Bentley.
Yep, Masoom just showing what he is quite capable of. Of course, he is a pro class driver, and he is quite quick. He has a lot of experience himself, so he is showing what he can do on track. His next goal will be to try and catch up to Davlish, although he is 12 seconds behind them now. It's not going to be an easy task. He will have to catch up a second a lap, which I don't think will be possible for him unless he somehow magically gets like esports pace, I'd say. Of course, not to discount the pace of Masum, but I don't think it will be enough at the end of the day.
Oh, it seems like HD has been in a very, 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 very major incident there, and his car is fully totaled. It seems like on the exit he lost his car and hit the barrier there. I'm not sure whether it was caused by himself or whether there was another car involved in it, but it looks like he just took too much of the exit curb. That's what I'm gonna bet on the exit curb. He took too much of it, and I have driven Beamer there, and I know that if you take too much of that curve, it's death. It's pretty much a death. I don't know why the graphics just changed to as if his car is perfectly fine, but let me assure you, it's not fine.
But we can see by the pace that he's going quite slowly. Yeah, we can see that his suspension is damaged
Yeah.
a lot, so he is struggling to get around.
Can,
And I think he can RTG if he wants to just go to the silence. Although I think that will lock his controls for longer than he really wants. So I think he's just driving back. He's gonna do what he did, unfortunately, in race one, where he would just go into the pits, get his damage repaired, and then he's gonna come back out and try and salvage whatever he can.
definitely. Meanwhile, Shan again sending it on Faizan. I'm not sure why he went for that move. Faizan clearly had the door closed ahead of him, and if, in my opinion, he should have just seen that Faizan is not willing to give him the inside line, but he still decided to brake late. And in that note, he took out Faizan there from the rear. So definitely Faizan won't be happy with that move. Definitely a report coming up ahead. But we have Rishabh who is trying to chase on. Tech is one. Obviously, both these drivers finally were able to overtake Helium, who was sort of holding them back. And now they are in a battle of their own. Rishabh is trying to chase down on Tegus one, so we'll have to wait and see what he can pull out. SD meanwhile having yellow flags, trying to limp back to the pits because I think he doesn't want his controls to be locked. But honestly, in my opinion, if he just disconnects and comes back, I think probably that would have taken him much less time than him driving to the pits and then getting the full repair done. Because as far as I know, it locks your controls for 2.5, 3 minutes. I'm not sure if it is track dependent, but if it is not, that is still a better time to lose than actually drive more than half the track and go back.
Yep, but it would be an unfair advantage to say the least, going which would help out Ezri. So someone would report him for that, and of course, the last thing you want after your race is ruined is for someone to report you and you fall back even more. So I think Ezri did the right choice here by just limping back to the pits. He's gonna get his damage repaired, and then he's gonna come back out and finish whatever he and finish wherever he can.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like that. Meanwhile, Sai Prithvi is in P13 as of now. He overtook SD. We have another person who has left after his incident. It's not SD, I think it was. Oshan, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's Oshan who just now left. Tegiz 1 has white flags for some reason. Can we go on board Tegiz 1? Why does he have white flags? I'm not sure. I don't know what do white flags mean. Maybe he cut the track. I am also not sure about that. But yeah, we will cycle back to it again. But right now, Tegiz 1 has created some gap between himself and Rishabh. Some breathing room that he has. Shan is trying to get back to Faizan again. But I'm not sure whether he lost his rear on the exit there, or whether that's the line that he prefers. I would say he lost his rear, because that's definitely not the ideal line, and so is that is also not the ideal line. You have to slow down your car enough so that you can make that first turn perfect and smooth. We are right now again on board this pack of three who have been going at each other since so long. Up ahead, we do see Masoom in a gridlock with Double Singh on in terms of time. Before simply did say that he will have to gain 1 second per lap. Let me correct you for that. He had to gain that time 1 second per minute, which is like half a lap. So definitely something that I don't see coming. But a great race from him, going from all the way to the back of the grid to P2. Definitely something need that needs to be appreciated.
Yep, I stand corrected. So it was 1 second per minute, which would have been half a lap, as you said. But by the looks of it, clearly he is not been able to do it. But yeah, still, it is no small feat, considering that he did go from P last all the way up into P12, P2. It is still a very big, I'd say, challenge. Although, of course, it did kind of help him the fact that there were some incidents here and there in front of him that also gained him a couple of positions, but then most of the work was done by Masoom to gain this position. So, considering that he went into P2 with a decent amount of time buffer left, I think it is definitely something that Masoom will accept.
Yeah, for sure. We were having a look at the positions gained a couple of seconds back on our screens. So we obviously the biggest loser being Sai Prithvi with 11 positions dropped because he started P2, but currently he is in P13 because of his unfortunate spin that he had in the final sector. He would be gutted, but right now two drivers are going side by side, and who else will it be? It's Shan versus Faizan. Shan almost takes out Faizan
Oh
again.
no.
Faizan turns very harshly to the left. I think Shan did not see that coming, and he is taken out there. And even Faizan loses his car and goes on the grass and full drift on the grass. So I'm not sure whether it was a revenge contact. I hope it wasn't, because I don't want to put such a claim on any driver, especially the drivers here at IRC. So I'm just gonna not put any claim. But basically, it was a very bad contact. Obviously, Faizan did turn in very sharply to the left. It might have been a response to him off being off the track and the track closing in there, because it goes from tarmac to grass suddenly. So I am not sure what happened there, what was the intentions there, but unfortunately, because of that, uh, I think even Shan will be out of the race uh, for now.
Yep, and I think he does have a decent amount of damage, and because of that, he will have to pit. Have a
Okay,
few
so
minutes of racing left, and I think this is a replay that we have here.
yeah, we are just having a look at what exactly happened. So coming up to the last second corner, we do see. For some reason, we are just seeing PowerPoint presentation. So maybe after the race, we can have a look at it, and because we are not able to get enough FPS out of it for some reason. So we'll just go to the normal race, and after the race, if we have some time, we'll have a look at this. But SD, after his car repair, has finally come on to the track, be it a couple of laps down, and he is trying to get back. We do have the three cars still going together: Tegiz, One, Rishabh, and Helium. So they are still not inseparable, even closer than before. So we'll see who goes for the late minute desperate dive, because with just 2 laps left into this race, it's soon going to be over.
Just a few minutes left here in this race. We can see 4 minutes left. Battles are not over yet, though. Rishabh, Tegis1, and Helium, I think it is, still fighting it out. This battle has been going on for a couple of minutes, and I think this battle really started off within after the first 5 or so minutes of this race, and it's still continuing. And it looks like it hasn't ended anytime soon. Apologies for that. Oshan has had a moment coming up, Radion, I think it is, and he has gotten a decent amount of damage, and I think that's his race confirmed over now at this point. So he will have to just RTG, or he can choose to limp around the track. Meanwhile, we can see Rishabh is still trying to close into Tegiz 1, and he's not really successful at it. Because of that, we can see Helium is closing up a lot on Rishabh now. Helium, who lost out on these positions earlier on, but now his goal is to, stick with them and try to get past Rishabh and then get past Tegiz 1 as quickly as possible. And by the looks of it, Helium is starting to work those laps in, because he is getting very, very close. As you can see, Rishabh makes a slight mistakes and goes in quite deep. That brings Helium right behind Rishabh, and this could be set for a move very, very soon here.
That is true. We did see a move being set up there, but Helium somehow, for some reason, decided to go very shallow into that next corner, thinking that maybe he can scare him off, and that has compromised his exit for this back straight, because this is where he could have actually gone for an easy move with the beamer and trying to get a much better exit from the beamer, because that's what beamers are good for. Right now, Rishabh is in the Audi. Definitely Audi having a much better top line speed, as Helium just sends it down the inside, and then oh my god, that's a full carnage. That's full carnage. So Helium decided to go for the inside, wasn't able to stop in time and took out Tegiz 1, and then Rishabh also got overthrown there, went off track, tried rejoining, took out Helium because of the sausage curve on the rejoin. So definitely not a very good show there, but let's hope that all these drivers can get their act together and they can probably have another battle. We can see Helium waiting to give back positions to both Rishabh and Tegis1, being a real sports showing real sportsmanship and showing the driver that he is. He admitted that it was his fault, and he has already given up both the positions that he gained there because of that incident. Oshan, meanwhile, trying to limp ahead in this race after his spin around in Radeon section with in his Porsche. So he is trying to limp for one more lap. Probably this lap is the last lap in my opinion, but we'll have to wait and see whether this is actually the last lap or not. Where is the
I
number?
think there will be one more lap
Yeah,
unless
there will
the
be one
leash
more.
decides to slow down a lot, and he can afford to do it because Masum's quite a distance behind him. So if he wishes to slow down, although I don't think he will be doing that because there's still 50 seconds left and he'll be crossing the line. Let's
Although
say with at least 10 to 15 seconds to go.
I do see white flag around his name. I'm not sure why it was coming, but anyways, he can definitely slow down. But I don't think so. He has 34 seconds and he is coming across bus stop, so he will be going on for one more lap. So this race is not yet over, lads. There is one more lap into this race. Obviously, it's not decided by if you cross the line before the 0th marker, because the game will tell whether it's the last lap or not based on the time left in the previous lap. So um, generally that's how it works. So I guess this is what the last lap is gonna be. But right now, Tegis1 is again hunting down on Rishabh, who has to defend for one more lap in his broken car. Obviously, he hit head on with Helium when he was trying to rejoin. So he will have way more damage than what Tegis1 is carrying, because Tegis1 was hit from behind by Helium. So I'm not sure who will get an advantage out of this battle, but right now it seems like Helium was able to close down a lot of time on to Tegis1, and he sends it down the inside. Tegis1 looking for a cutback line, a beautiful cutback line, much earlier on power and a much better exit. Definitely he should be ahead when they are approaching the Radeon section. Yes, he is ahead by some distance.
I think Helium does have a bit of damage because of those contacts that we saw earlier, but I don't think it should really affect him much He is in the slipstream of Tag is one again. Tag is one is slowing down quite a bit. I'm not sure why. And now Helium's done the move down the inside. So I'm not sure if Tag is one was just giving the position back to Helium, or if Helium just suddenly got a lot more speed in his car and just flew past him.
Yeah, we will not have an answer to that, obviously, because it did seem like Techies one just lifted off to 80% slightly there, and because of which Helium was able to make an easy move. But it can just all be Techies one not having the straight line speed because of him being hit on the rear. Because again, Beamer is a rear heavy car. Like if you damage your rear, you are gonna suffer. But Davlesh Singh, after a brilliant 30-minute drive, is rounding off the bus stop chicane. Will be crossing the line to take P1 of this race. Masum did whatever he can to come back from the back of the field to P1. Was not enough for him, and definitely Davlesh Singh wins this 30-minute sprint race.
Yep, considering that Masum has not driven on Spa since last October, some little bit of info that I'm getting, he's not driven on Spa, the track, since the last October. So considering that, he's done actually very, very well coming back up to P2, although of course he would have definitely wanted some practice to catch up with Davlish. But at the end of the day, it's still a pretty decent result of getting P2. He's still on the podium.
Yeah, but Thakur is not having the best of the time after he had a spin that we saw a couple of seconds back on the screen, and he is currently yellow flag. He has suspension damage, and he is trying to get his car back across the finish line. We do have Tegiz one who is also limping back for the start finish line. He has given up on the throttle, and he is just letting his car go. Because he has a lot of gap between himself and Faizan, who is like 20 seconds behind him. So Tegiz one finally crosses the line, comes up in P8. Probably a lot of words would be exchanged there, I believe. Oh, I think Tegiz one hasn't crossed the line yet. No, he hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't. He went back to the pits. He
Oh,
didn't
that
cross
is
the
very
line.
weird.
As far as I know, yeah, he didn't cross the line. He just RTG'd. Did he did a very noob mistake of assuming that he crossed the line and then he just
Ooh.
RTG'd, or what exactly happened? Oh, he might have run out of fuel. Okay,
Oh, okay.
that's one thought process. And same is Abhay Thakur, I believe. Even he
He's
has
also
run
ran
out
out
of.
of fuel.
Yeah, it seems like even he has run out of fuel. Oh
By
yes,
the
it
looks
is.
of it,
It is a fuel issue that both Tech is one and Abhay Thakur is facing right now, because they have in ACC is not F1. F1 you can go into low fuel mode. ACC you can't. It's race over for you, lad. If you have low fuel, you are stuck on the track. You can't do anything. I actually want to have a
stuck on
chat
the
with
apex.
Tech is one.
Yes.
I actually want to have a chat with him. Did his fuel actually run out just millimeters before the start finish line? If that's the case,
That will be devastating.
I feel bad for his wheel. May his wheel rest in peace. Or pieces. Whatever the state is right now. But yeah,
Oof,
like
okay.
I actually want to have a chat. No, it does show P7 for Tegas one, so he did cross the line, I guess. It
Uh,
wasn't showing in
Probably a small bug.
yeah, in ACC TV, but Abhay Thakur did not cross the line, but still came P10 for some reason. I am not sure what has happened here. Maybe a lobby glitch. I am
Abhay
absolutely
Thakur
not
definitely stopped on the exit though. He ran out of fuel. He just stopped on the exit.
sure. But then somehow the recent session just got over for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, so probably some sort of visual bug on our side, I believe. Could be.
Maybe we cannot confirm that unless we have a chat with the drivers themselves, which probably we might not have. But anyways, we will try getting the podium winners. So just to run you down the grid, placing finishing in P1, Masum, a brilliant drive in P2, P3, Kurav Gowda P4, FIFA Kanak P5, Rishabh P6, Helium P7, Teg is one. Who these three weren't separated for the entirety of the race. P8, Paisan, after having so many incidents, being a victim of also so many incidents, he still manages to come in P8. And P9 is Vishnu, P10 Abhay Thakur, P11 Sai Prithvi, P12 Oshan, P13 one second, let me just reverse the stream to get that. P13 was Stan, P14 is Supreme Kai, P15 is the real SD. After having another incident, even in the second race, unfortunately, P15 is all he can get from this race. And the non finishers were Cannonade, Washing Powder Nirma, Mr. Rout, Star Max Lord, who also got a DT. Somehow Vishnu Anand has a 80 seconds penalty. I'm not sure what exactly is happening in this race anymore. So we'll just reserve our judgments about the outcomes, and we'll call in our podium finishers. So why don't you start off with Davlesh Singh, who is in the VC right now with us?
Yes, Davlish, are you with us here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Davlish. So yet again, quite a good performance from you, winning, getting pole by 1.2 seconds, and then winning race one by a decent margin. Although in race two, we did see that you did have a bit of competition behind you. There was a decent line starting off from Sai Prithvi, and it was just a big line of cars. So did you ever feel pressured at that point, thinking that, oh, maybe perhaps these guys could catch up, considering that Masoom had a lot of pace and he was, chewing through the field. And if the train remained in the same, I'd say, gap to you, I think Masoom would have definitely been there fighting with you for P1.
Uh, Not very sure about if maybe Sai would have caught up to me, but yeah, I think not really in pressure at any point. Just focusing on my race and just putting those laps in one by one.
Very straightforward answer, and a very fair one as well. But I mean, I'm pretty sure, after Masoom did clear off rest of the field, I mean, I'm pretty sure you would have at least glanced at the leaderboards once, looking at seeing that Masoom was in P2. So did you think, okay, well, there is, I think there was about 15 or 20 something around those lines minutes left. Do you think, okay, maybe if Masoom really focuses now and puts the laps in, he'll be able to catch up to you?
Yeah, I was looking at the timing charts and I saw myself was up into P2. I think Sai Prithvi made some mistake and I don't know, he was a lap down on me. And then I was keeping an eye out on his lap times. So yeah, I think on average, he was about 3-4 tenths slower per lap. But yeah, so I was not being pressured that much.
All right, fair enough. Congrats on your podium, by the way. That's all the questions from me. Dipanshu, if you have anything for Davlish.
No, nothing much. Let's just move on to Masoom, who is there also in the VC, our P2 finisher in the second race. Obviously, unfortunately, you couldn't participate in the first race. Any specific reason? Or
I was just like a very last minute decision to join the race. Like
well,
you know what happened to our endurance? I was like last minute I
yes.
decided.
I actually don't. But I will
No
catch up
idea.
to you after this
Yep.
commentary. But
Yep.
yeah, I do see that one team is still there somehow,
Yeah.
but the other team has dispersed off. But anyways, we will talk
Yeah.
about that later. But when we
Yeah.
saw your name appear in race one itself, we thought that maybe something exciting we'll get to see, and we did get to see some exciting overtakes. Not very fancy overtakes. Everything was seemed
Yes.
like,
Yes.
straight line merchant overtake kind of
Yeah.
attacks.
Yep. Exactly.
I was
For once I know what Hamilton feels like.
yes, exactly. But nevertheless, a brilliant race from you. I don't think I have any specific question from you for you. Simply, do you have any questions for our man?
Nothing like that.
I mean,
I'm just I'm just happy that I've got a podium after like forever here.
Well, finally, dreams come true.
Yes.
But anyways, very good drive from you. You were already 11 positions ahead in at the end of
Yeah.
championship
So at the start, I literally backed off like 4 or 5 crash positions, and four cars took out on Eau-rouge, and another
Ah,
5 got there was another crash after the
yes,
comp.
yes,
So
correct,
things are
correct.
quite easy.
Yeah, we did see you gain like 11 positions in the first lap itself. So did make it a bit easy, but you still had to put
Yes.
in the effort to overtake 5 or 6 more cars ahead of you. But nevertheless, brilliant drive from you. And yeah, welcome back to league
Yeah.
racing in ACC. So hope we see more performance, more appearances from you, and at least we'll have someone to challenge the Vlesh, because at this point we have run out of questions for the Vlesh to ask in the interview.
Yeah. You
For
should,
me,
like, at this point, you can pretty much like practice, rehearse what you need to ask him beforehand.
yeah. Probably we can just write a script and give it to him. He will prepare and
Yep,
come back.
exactly.
But yeah, like nevertheless, congratulations on your P2 finish.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's move on to Purav Gowda. I think you came P3 both in race 1 and race 2, if I'm not wrong. Can you correct me on that? Ah, yes. So brilliant performance by you. I believe after Davlesh Singh, you will be bagging the most points out of today's full race. So, how do you feel about that? Mm.
Yeah, I can you hear what he's saying?
Yes, yes, we can hear.
Oh, I'm
Have
sorry.
you?
Yeah, I've lowered his volume on Discord for some reason. Puru, God of, if you can please repeat what you just said.
Yeah, I had a very good race. Just doing my consistent laps. Nothing much to say. There was no any battles going for me.
Ah.
In the second race, I didn't have a P3, but unfortunately, Sai Prithvi went off the track and crashed. So, yeah, I think P3 is lucky number for me.
Definitely. But in both the races, in the second one, I believe you didn't think that you would catch Masum after you overtook you. But at least in the first race, did you have a hope that maybe you can catch up to Sai Prithvi?
I don't know if. No, I don't think so because he was gaining like 2 or 3 tenths per lap. Yeah, I thought if he made a massive mistake, then only then I could catch him. But yeah, then he did a mistake.
Yeah, he did it in second race. But nevertheless, brilliant drive from you as well.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your P3 win in both the races, as well as silver win in both the races. So definitely a brilliant drive from you, and very good points for your driver championship from today's race. Uh,
Thank you.
but yeah, that concludes our stream for today. ACC race at Spa. So join us next week when we are heading out for another track and another exciting race. But before that, do join us for the F1 race that we have tomorrow, especially on the F1 2022 game, both tier 1 and tier 2, which is gonna happen in the afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Before leaving, we will have a look at the incident that Starmax Lord had. Oh my god, why
Ooh.
do you go straight? I am not sure why this man went straight. Did he forget that there is a barrier there on the left side? I am not sure what exactly happened there, but that just seems like a miscalculation from his side.
Did
Oh
turn
yeah,
the wheel.
oh yeah, he did turn the wheel.
His car bottomed out there. That's why he
Yeah.
just went straight. Yeah, that's pretty common in these.
Yes, that's what caused the end of race for Star Max Lard in the first one. But yeah, as I was telling, that's it from us. Join us tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. when we go live with our Tier 2 stream in the F1 2022 game. And this week, it's under the lights in the Marina Bay. Sorry, in Singapore. Even Singapore
Did
has
the
Marina
Marina
Bay,
Yeah,
Bay?
it
right?
is
Yeah,
Marina Bay.
yeah, it is the Marina Bay. I thought that I am getting confused with Abu Dhabi, but nevertheless, do consider joining us if you are a motorsport enthusiast. All the links to joining the community and signing up for the leagues are down in the description below. But if you have been with us till now, thank you for watching. Have a great day. See you tomorrow with another stream from IRC. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night.